Hello, everybody. Welcome to your 6th week of the Steps to a Healthy You program, the official halfway point. Congratulations on all you have achieved so far. Today, basically, we're going to go through a bit of a check in to monitor and record your progress and work through some common barriers in order to set some new goals for the following 6 weeks. So, we're going to start today's session off with a little bit of a reflection on how we've found the last 6 weeks and how we're feeling about the following 6 weeks. So, in your workbooks or on a notepad, whatever you feel like, I want you to write down some of the answers to these questions. So, first one is, what is something that you have achieved so far and what is something that you're proud of? The second one is, have you come across any barriers to your progress so far in your journey? And then the final one is, in one word, how would you describe how you're feeling about the following 6 weeks ahead? Feel free to pause the webinar at this point to write down some of these, or if not, then we'll carry straight on. So the first thing we're going to do is check in with our progress so far. So if you turn to page 22 in your workbooks, you will see a new page for you to track your new measurements. So take some time here to fill these out. Again, you can pause this and then come back to it when you're ready. However, just a little point before you get started. I want you to remember that weight loss is only one of the aspects that we're looking to achieve on this course. If you haven't quite met your weight loss goals just yet, try not to beat yourself up about this. Remember, all the little changes that you've made so far will not have gone to waste. Think about the internal improvements you will have made to your biochemistry, your blood flow, your heart and muscle function, your disease risk. Health is not always directly correlated to weight. And I'll pop some of these things on here for you to help. So feel free to pause and then come back when you're ready. So the next thing we want you to do is turn to the next page in your workbooks where you'll find some reflective questions. Start by recording whether you have met the initial goal that you set back in week 1. Then whether you have or you haven't, record why you think that might be. So for example, if you did meet it, think about why. What did you do to get to that point? Are these some things that you're going to do moving forward, or are there any things that you need to change? If you didn't meet it, ask yourself the same questions. Why didn't you meet it? Were there life circumstances that got in the way? Dig deep and really think about this because it will help us move forward. So I'll pop some extra questions on here for you. And then again, take a little break, write some things down, and then come back when you're ready. You might remember from week 1 the stages of change model, which consist of pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. After 6 weeks of being on this program, just take a moment to think about where you were to begin with and where you might be now on this readiness to change model. Are you in the action stage, or are you now stepping into the maintenance phase? Think about, are there things you need to do or to have to keep your progress moving round this cycle? Again, pause the video here, write down your thoughts, and then come back when you're ready. Okie dokie. So once you've labelled them all, pick out the ones that are ambivalent and within your control. These are the barriers that we're going to start by tackling, as they should be the ones that are most realistic. Move on to the next section where it asks in your workbook, where it asks how you could get around these barriers. These are what's called your facilitators. If you're struggling to think of some, then maybe consider what has helped you achieve your goals in the past. Then below, consider what you need to get started. So maybe you need some support from your family, a discussion with your spouse or your boss at work, some new clothes or shoes, some lunch boxes to start prepping some food if that's one of your goals. Then consider how you're going to actually arrange this. So when are you going to have that conversation with your spouse, or when are you going to go shopping to get those lunch boxes? This is essentially gearing you up to make smart goals, which I know sounds really cliche, but it is a very, very powerful tool to use and can really, really help. So again, think about the questions I've just asked, pause the video, write down the answers, and then come back to it when you feel ready. Okay, so now we've arrived at the fun part. So we've reflected on our achievements, we've made some new goals to work towards, and now we need to think about how we're going to reward ourselves, not only for the effort we've put in so far, but for each step and achievement we're planning on reaching going forwards. So a bit of self-love can go a really long way, and we deserve to recognize our achievements and feel proud. I know it can feel very strange sometimes for some people, but it's a really, really important thing to do. However, when we typically think of rewards, we often turn to food related ones, like having a cheat meal or going to a restaurant. And whilst these are absolutely fine to do every now and then, it's still important that we think of some non-food related rewards to help us stay on track with those new goals that we've just set, and to step away from the mentality that we might have that certain foods are rewarding and on the flip side, restricting is punishment. So it's really important that we do this step. In your workbooks, you will find 6 reward cards, a bit like coupons, each with a dedicated milestone on there. So on each one, we want you to write down some non-food related rewards that you will look forward to doing and taking to celebrate your efforts. So I'm going to put some things on the screen here to sort of help give you a few ideas. But to get started, I want you to think of some things that really make you happy, things that you might miss doing for yourself, or little things that you do now but you don't really appreciate how they make you feel, i.e. you might not be present whilst you're doing them. For example, one reward could be to treat yourself to a spa day, a new hair appointment, getting your nails done. It could be to organise to go for a walk or a catch up with a friend, taking your family or children on a day out to enjoy some family time, planning a day to do a sport that you might love, like golf. And on that note, maybe you have a specific hobby that you enjoy, like painting or a sport or playing music. Could you treat yourself to some new equipment for that hobby? Try and think of something like these that you might be able to do for yourself and write them down on each card. So you'll notice that there are 6, one for each week remaining of the course. Each time you reach a goal that you've set today or back in week 1, or even at the end of each week, simply take advantage of one of those reward coupons and do something for you. And make sure you promise me on that one as well. So back at the start, I mentioned that one of the barriers we could have is time. So luckily for you, this webinar is only a short one. So that actually brings us to the end of today's workshop. Like I said at the start, today is more about checking in and resetting goals. Reflecting can be really difficult to do as humans, I think. But once you get into the right headspace, it can flow quite easily. And it's a super important task to make sure that we're identifying things that we're doing well and not so well. So I really, really appreciate your efforts in doing this with me today, and I wish you all the best of luck in the weeks to follow. We've got some post-workshop questions like the ones I asked at the start, just again to keep reflecting on things and hopefully help you feel a little bit more positive going forwards as well. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to think, how motivated are you to continue to make positive changes over the next 6 weeks? Then, on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to think about how confident you are at making and achieving those changes. And then, in one word, how would you feel if you achieved the goals you set? So, think like cast your minds into the future. think about how you would feel and sort of use that as a little bit of motivation. And remember that feeling. You could even write it down, draw a picture, like whatever you feel would work best for you. So, yes, thank you so, so much. And I cannot wait to see you here again very soon. Bye.